What up, YouTube? I am your host, Mediocre, the tour views and reviews. Back in here with one more video. Guys, you're looking at the thumbnail, you're looking at the title of the video, you already know what time it is. It is time to get active. Shout out to YouTube channel, Manosphere Highlights Daily. Uploaded a highlight video from another channel called Happy Film of an interview, recent interview, done with Sister Shahrazad Ali, which you guys already know. I've ordained her as maternal grandmother of the channel. So I thought it would be dope to go over, because generally when I've gone over her in the past, it's been her decades ago. So I think it'd be dope to go over who she is today, her mindset today, and what she thinks about the things that are happening today. Without further ado.
And so our families have been so torn apart, and we have been made to hate each other. And the other reasons is that every problem that the white woman has had with the white man, they have pushed those issues on us, or we have adopted those issues and decided that that was our problem too. When I keep saying we don't have nothing to do with the white woman and what she got going with her man. We trying to deal with our own. And as a result of our frustration and our anger, many of our men have left us to go to women of other nationalities because they feel like they can get along with them better. It's not because they're better women, but they haven't suffered the same kind of traumas that we have from childhood growing up, what we saw, what we did, and all of the things we had to go through. And so their mood is better. They ain't mad all the time like us. You know, we be uptight. We have unrealistic expectations, you know, and the unrealistic expectations has been our downfall. We have made up ideas about what a relationship and a husband or a man is supposed to be like. You know, we don't mind having a man as long as he don't act like a man. Wow. You know, we could be with him, but if we start coming up in that trying to give some instructions or say how he wants things or what we supposed to do, oh, we go get everybody then. It's, oh, no, you trying to tell me what to do. Somebody need to tell us what to do. It's obvious we don't know what to do. You know, everywhere I go, people say that final thing. You know, we just need to come together. You know, we just need to get in unity. Well, most of us can't get in unity with the people we live with. Facts. With the people we've been with all our life. We can't get in unity with them. So that can't be the total goal. We're going to have forced unity. See, not getting along is a luxury. Being able to disagree, break up, make up, and all of that, that's a luxury. But there will come a time based on things that we all need to survive, and where we gonna need a man, where we gonna get past a whole lot of what we got going now. It's just gonna fade away. Like Trump said, it's gonna poof, it'll disappear, you know? It's not gonna be there. But for right now.
Whoa. let's let the track breathe real quick. You know what's crazy? I'm sitting there looking at this, you know what I'm saying? And man, I could just sit and listen to her all day, just tell stories. You know what I'm saying? Just tell stories. Just talk about the olden days. You know what I'm saying? Not even just talk about that, but like I want to just hear her perspective, you know, writing her book in the 90s and what she went through at that time, given all the backlash that she received at that time. You understand what I'm saying? But it's to like information like this that actually sets the tone for sectors like this to even exist. So I think that it's important that we pay honor and reverence to those that had the insight and yet the foresight to see where the situation was at the time that they were talking about it and where it was going to end up into the future. And I feel like she's a genius, brilliant fortune teller for the things that she was able to recognize and then have the strength to combat at the time period that she did, but then to still be out in these streets telling it like it is. Kudos. You understand what I'm saying? But she touched on something real quick that I just wanted to talk about real quick. All right. She touched on this idea that there's men that go to other communities because they're at odds with women that are in their communities. And then she also alluded to a lot of that has to deal with, and we talk about this on the channel, the level of toxicity that folks are raised in, right? That women are raised in. Let's take it outside of human beings. Let's say it was a pit bull. If you raise a pit bull to fight, it will fight. If you raise a pit bull in a loving home, it will be a loving pit bull. You know, this is something that you notice, especially once you start to travel and get out the places that you grew up in and you start to meet other people. You might consider dating other people outside of your own race. And when you do, if you are choosing the high integrity of them, what you'll find is that there's a much higher rate of awesome families that are happening that watch a masculine man growing up being a protector and a provider to a feminine woman. It's not to say that there's not problems outside of there, but I'm thinking of a couple examples in my head right now, and I'm just looking at the family dynamics like, man, this is so cheesy, but I love it. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, it's just looks like it's out of a picture book. You understand me? And the thing is being raised in that and seeing that is going to have an ultimate effect of your perception of earth, your perception of the world. If you raise in toxicity, you end up being a toxic person. It just is what it is because that's your normal. Anyway, let's get back in there. She was cooking.
Now, the man's role would be to protect and provide. Now, when we say provide, that don't mean buy you every kind of weave you want that costs $800 or $900. It don't mean buy you every kind of Gucci and Fendi and Louis Vuitton. That ain't what provide means. He's going to provide direction and guidance, love, affection, discipline for our children, and help with all of those kind of things. Provide ideas. See, one of our problems as black women is that we ain't got nothing to do. You know, other than work for white people, we don't have too much to do. You know, I go to the church, and many of us treat the people at the church and the minister like we should be treating our man at home. So, you know, we have it all mixed up. So those are some of the things that the man needs to do. He needs to not let women let us get away with things, because the moment we get away with sneaking a line, we really open it up and do that a lot more because we think we've got him tricked.
One of the first questions that I would ask her if I ever had the opportunity to be able to interview her is, what does she think about this particular sector of YouTube? You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of what we do up here is to point a finger at bad behavior and to check said bad behavior. You understand me? Because far too long and far too often we've gone off in a society of complete and utter unchecked behavior where men didn't feel empowered to be able to talk about these things because they would be lambasted if they did. They would be shunned if they did. I really wonder what is her perception, or if she's even heard about it. You never know. You understand? But this is good.
And that's one of the reasons that so many black women were angry with me for putting out the Black Man's Guide to Understand the Black Woman, because our men needed a heads up. And even with that, it's hard for them. But they just have certain information they don't have about us that keeps them confused and makes them reject us and go to someplace else. He's outside looking for peace of mind. Yeah, because we're not that familiar with peace. We're just familiar with getting dressed up and putting on eyelashes and, you know, maybe even going to school. More of us are graduating from college. More of us are getting PhDs. You know, we got good credit cards. We got a whole lot of things, cars,
but
it hasn't made us happy. We're still sitting around talking about why we don't have companionship, which is the ultimate goal. It don't have to be marriage. It can just be some good companionship.
Oh, it don't have to be marriage. It could just be some companionship. You understand me? You know, when she's talking, I start to think about, that Cosmo video that I did that admitted to selling women this false dream and, talking through how the idea of feminism was not made for black people, but black women stuck and held on to it, right? So then what was lost is the idea of enhancing your femininity to attract a man, and instead it focused in on enhancing your education to attract a man, to being equal to a man as far as leading and deciding and decision-making capabilities when in a relationship. And what you see nowadays is that women that have chosen and gone on that path, if they were unable to utilize certain characteristics about, their genetic capabilities to get a man, they find themselves incredibly angry, incredibly bitter, and incredibly upset. All right. Listen, at the end of the day, gents, picture it was you. Picture you went your whole life being fed delusion, being fed something. Would you not be upset as well? Would you not be upset as well? That's why when somebody come over to this channel, you just see pure another hate down into the comment section. And it's because their eyes are being uncovered at the same time that a lot of you guys' eyes are being uncovered at the same time. All right. Just as many dudes as they're out there that are getting education on this side of YouTube on not how to simp, there is women that is coming up on YouTube and getting the same formal education of how to enhance their femininity because they've come from tortured past.
No, because we're alone. Yeah. So with our women, one of the first things we need to deal with is nutrition. Women historically have been assigned that duty and have accepted that role because food, as I said, is what sustains life.
Yes.
And eating the proper food, we can decide how long our men and our women live and our children. But it's what we feed them. And so eating out every day, while it's convenient, because we're giving our all of our energy to the white people on the job. So when we come home, we're tired. So it's easier to pick up McDonald's or some other kind of junk and bring it home and feed it to our children until our children get so accustomed to eating it that they don't even want good food. They don't want vegetables. That's who we have been adjust to ourselves. And so we can set a better example. And just cooking. I talk about cooking all the time. I don't know how so many of us have missed that. Cooking food and invite somebody over for dinner. You have somebody at least for some company sometimes, because most of our men are lined up every evening somewhere to buy some kind of filthy, greasy food because they don't have nothing to eat. I talked to a young brother the other day. He told me he don't even know no women that cook. Start with his mother. Yeah, you ain't surprised at that. In fact, many of our women don't cook, and they go around saying they think it's something to be proud of. I don't cook. They brag on it. Many of our young girls can't boil water, can't boil an egg, can't do anything, and they think that's cute because we don't have mothers in the community anymore as much teaching how to cook.
Instead, we got Cardi B's that I don't cook, I don't clean. And then they wear that as if it's the national anthem of a strong woman. Like, women just don't understand how simple that we are. You understand me? They just don't understand how simple that you are. You don't understand. I need to optimize my life. I honestly, even for myself, I'm actually thinking about like investing in a chef, like in a cook. You understand me? Like taking the money that I was paying on my mortgage and then investing in a chef just because I don't have to focus on it. And then also it optimizes my body. And when I say investment, I really mean investment because it's going to optimize my sleep. It's going to optimize how much energy that I can put out into a day. And then also it takes off the cost of my time that I can be focused on my YouTube. But like something like that I'm willing to pay for, right? Like if I was in the relationship of the dating game, and I had a woman with that skill set, oh, that is so valued. It's just simple stuff that we've completely lost sight of. But you know what? On all of these shows, they don't teach you how to do that. That focusing on women, they don't teach you how to do all that stuff. No.
Buy everything out. We don't know what we eat. Snails, raccoons, squirrels. We don't know how to identify meat. And so we, as women, our role needs to be satisfied with less. Stop trying to keep up with everybody else who don't own nothing, but try to buy everything that the enemy and the Asians make. We need to pull back some from that. You know, we think that our men only like us for how we dress or our eyelashes or our fake breasts or buttocks and all of that. That's not what they looking for in us.
No.
And so we keep...
That's not what we looking for seriously. We could be looking for some of that stuff, you know, for the one night, but not to be long-term compatible with. Dudes are not looking for that, and that's where they get it wrong.
Them so sexually stimulated, overstimulated, that they don't have time to consider anything else about us because we think that's the only way to get a man and that's the only value that we have. We have other great values. We are the queen of the universe, the mother of civilization. And so we have other things to teach us. But our women need to lower their dress, stop going out naked, trying to get attention from strange men. Our women need to control their sexual drive because we'll do anything, go crazy when we have that on us, you know. And what a lonely woman won't do is just anything. So we need to pull that back some and come down from so much throwing sex on our men so that they can have time to consider something else. They don't have the kind of discipline that'll keep them from going for that. So we need to be in the mother, the first one that touch all of the people on the earth. That's what a mother does. We need to set a different example. We need to start dressing our children more modest. You can't wait till your daughter get 14 to tell her to stop wearing halter tops and booty shorts. You can't do that. You got to start her when she's a tiny little child about being modest, you know, and how to dress. And so people say all the time to me, yeah, you talking all that old school. Now I'm talking about what worked. Because what y'all got going is not working.
Bars. Dog, if I had the opportunity to talk to her as well, first thing I say is make a YouTube channel now. Make a YouTube channel a year ago. Please. You got so much knowledge. You got so much information. And she still got the I don't give a attitude. Like, just I'm just going to say how it is. I'm going to tell you about like what works, what has worked. Back when the marriage rate was what, 80%? back in the good old days. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying that a little bit facetiously, but still at the same time, back then.
Our women are overweight. We big and fat and try to convince somebody that looks good. Our men are overweight. Now you're talking about high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, heart disease. And so the stress of racism in this country already puts that on us. We're 17, 18 generations up from slavery. And as I said, that's why I wrote that book, Are You Still a Slave? To help us to understand that we're still practicing the same behavior. And we're not always forced to, but as long as we practice the same behaviors that we do and go for the things we go for, then the enemy understands that they still have control over us. And we have lived in a society where our man has been disenfranchised. We have run them crazy at home, and they've been around so many women, they grow up and talk like women and act like women. You know, when we dragging our son to the beauty parlor to get our hair braided, he got to sit in there and listen to women for 3 and 4 hours.
Has an impact.
Okay? When we take him over to our girlfriend's house and he got to listen to that. Well, see, a lot of that impacts upon his development.
Yes.
And there are some fathers who are unfit to be around their children or the woman or anybody else. But then there are a lot of other great fathers who are qualified to help nurture their child and co-parent, but we don't deal with them because we mad at them. The child ain't mad. Well, we used to.
She hit on something very profound. She said she has a book entitled, Are You Still a Slave? Right? So she talked about the weight of our culture in America and what that means. But then also she said, but are you still a slave? And when she says that, I think of accountability. I think of the antithesis of victim mentality. Okay? I think of the opposite. So it's not like trying to set up an additional barrier for people to not tell you that you're incredibly overweight, right? It's fixing your weight problem. It's investing time each and every day to either work out or reduce the calories. It's fixing the things that are in your life and not to put up roadblocks for you not to do ish. But are you still a slave to the machine? Because at the point that you realize that you doing something is not going to turn into a happy life into the future, and in fact, it might shorten your life, until you understand that you're just a slave to the marketing. You're just a slave to the machine because you don't have goals and objectives that align to where you actually want to go, and or you are not accountable enough to make the specific changes to get yourself out of this self-induced bondage.
Identify with being black first and having a black man. But because of the women's liberation movement, now we try to identify as being female, and we got all of this here, you know, black girls do this and black women do that, you know, and we have not come up with a program as black women that honors our men as much as we honor ourselves, okay? It would not be us if it were not for him, okay? Well, everything is just a decision. And when a lot of us hear the truth, we don't want to take that truth because it requires us to change and rearrange the fake values that we have been forced to accept. We think to live out here. And many of us think that if we do that, that we will become ostracized. In order to rebuild our nation, you have got to be brave. You have got to step out on the truth. And we don't keep needing a God that we can love.
You know what's so? I'm sorry. I apologize. I'll leave a link down in the description box down below if you guys want to see this with unabated, without my interruptions. I am convinced that there was a period of history. There's a period of history where people would sell things either from a viewership perspective or a product perspective, which makes us weaker as people. Makes us weaker. Now we have the culmination of all of that. We have an entitlement culture. We have a non-accountable culture of people that are scared and terrified of failure. Of failure. It's just, think about it. I mean, think about it. Think of the state of where we are at right now. Think about it. And for someone to come up with platforms that challenges the way that you think and to be ostracized or attempted to be ostracized for making people accountable. The fight of not wanting to change, the fight of, no, don't look at them anymore. Don't look at them over there who's making us be accountable for ourselves. Look at us. Continue to look at us at this content that makes you weak at the end of the day, from both a male and a woman's perspective.
So we need to see these patterns and recognize that all that jumping up and down in church every Sunday morning ain't getting us nowhere. We ain't getting no benefit from that. It's just a play to go and let off steam, let off stress, but it's not building what we need to build. Every black church in America should be donating money to educate 5 or 10 children in their communities. Absolutely. They have the money. Stop giving it to the preacher. He's a master pimp. Women look for a pimp. They want a man that tell them what to do. They just don't want no accountability with it. And so he's out there collecting the money up, living a high life when the people in the community are in need.
All right, guys, listen, I'm going to stop the video right there. The highlight video, Manosphere Highlights Daily, that's not done. I leave a link down to the description box down below. And I'll also leave a link to the full live stream. It's over an hour long. Utilize those links. Go up there. Go get educated. Go see the whole conversation. Let's come back in here. You can continue to have a conversation down in the comment box down below as well. Just like I said earlier, I think the first thing that I'll be like, you need a YouTube channel, because the reach of what you did in book form back into the 90s, right? Like, number one, if it wasn't for YouTube, I wouldn't even know about her and or her book. I think that this platform and the way that she gets so passionate even still, and it's wonderful to see that her mind is still as much intact as what it was, what it appears to be back into the 90s. So she's still got the juice. I don't know why she don't just put up a camera, get up on a microphone and just release daily videos, daily content on what this is. I mean, I don't get it. There's no reason she needs to go on other people's platforms to do it. I'd love to just hear it directly from her platform and directly from her source. So many gems within this video, I can't even count. I don't want to go over. Just replay the video. Just go back and re-listen to the video. So many. Shout out to Sister Shahrazad Ali. You understand? Questions, comments, concerns. Y'all already know what to do. Mediocre tutorials and reviews at gmail.com. I'm glad I called this meeting here today. We needed to have this dope conversation. So many truth bombs. All right? Until next time, YouTube. Peace.